Hey, 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 I am back and hopefully better than ever. Um, New name to the channel, Life and with Kim. And just like the title says, we're going to talk about life. Um, Whether it's traveling, whether it's um, anything medical, because I am a nurse. Um, just life in general. So formally kicking it with Kim, but now we're lifing with Kim. You know, at this stage of my life, we just lifing. But I wanted to start off with a story time. And please like, comment, subscribe. Um, Trying to really launch this channel, but I wanted to, like I said, start with a story time. So this is something for real, something that happened to me just a week ago. So stay tuned. All right, so about a week ago, actually a week yesterday made a week, I was taking some medication, and it's a weight loss medication. I'm just going to be completely transparent. And I took the medication. I wasn't new to it. Had been taking it for a while. Um, but then I experienced one of the side effects, and it was rough. The side effect that I experienced was severe headache that later on I was diagnosed with migraines. I've had headaches in my life, but this headache was unreal. It was, I can't even describe how much pain I was in. I felt like someone had hit me with a sledgehammer on the left side of my head, and it was the entire left side. It was from the temporal lobe all the way down. Even my jaw and my teeth hurt. And I took Tylenol, I took Excedrin, I took Aleve, and nothing touched this headache. Um, I can honestly say, well, I don't want to say nothing touched the headache. It helped a little bit, but it's like it would take the edge off the pain for about 30 minutes, and then bam, it was hitting me again. And when I tell you, it brought me to tears, that pain, but that's not even the worst part. So as I'm experiencing this horrific pain, all of a sudden, my speech, I couldn't even recite the alphabet. I couldn't count to 10. And being home alone, I was freaking out because I instantly thought, oh my gosh, I'm having a stroke. I checked my blood pressure. My blood pressure was fine. I did all the tests, the things they tell you to look for if you're possibly having a stroke. So I was not having slurred speech. I did not have weakness on one side or the other. It was strictly my speech. And it's been a week now, and I'm actually now starting to be able to speak normally. Um, Sometimes it takes me a little bit of time to collect my thoughts because what was happening was in my mind, I knew what I was trying to say, but when I tried to speak, it was horrible. I mean, when I tell you, I was afraid. And my daughter, my husband, everybody was very much concerned about me, but I was trying to downplay it like, oh, I just need to relax. I just need to lay down. I'm just gonna, hopefully I'll be okay. And then finally, I looked at my husband, and he had this look on his face that he was really, really concerned about me. So, um, well, my daughter called me and she's like, Mom, what's going on? So I told her, I'm still having these headaches, but um, I think I'll be okay. And I said I just needed to relax. So I decided to just lay down for a little while. But then she said, my daughter said, Mom, Dad has been texting me because he's really, really concerned about you. And he told you that he thinks you need to go to the emergency room, but you won't go. Mom, you need to go. So this is what she's saying to me. And I'm like, but I'm okay. I think I'm okay. And she was like, you think you're okay? No, you need to go. So, the sad part is, you guys heard me say before, I am a registered nurse. I have been in nursing for 30 years. And, there is an expression that doctors and nurses are the worst patients. And I don't want to say I'm the worst patient, but I downplay everything. It's like, okay, I'm Superwoman. I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. I usually, I have a very high tolerance to pain, but when I tell you the headache that I experienced was unlike any other, that is an understatement. I would probably have 12 children going through labor, and go through it with ease compared to the headache that I was experiencing. So, fast forward, I finally decided to go ahead to the emergency room. So, I went to the emergency room, and they decided, well, not they decided, but I had a CT scan. Everything was normal on the CT scan. My brain was fine. I did not have a stroke. It was just my speech was severely affected. And I could not, like basically, I could not stand bright light, even the sunlight, although I didn't go to the ER until it was dark. But just in all honesty, I was in my house, curtains drawn, light was horrible. When I was in the emergency room, when they put me in the triage room, and they turned on all the lights, oh my gosh, it felt like daggers were just jabbing into my head because I couldn't stand the light. And so they realized that it was hurting me. So they turned the lights off and gave me some IV hydration, some IV medication, um, and we were basically playing the waiting game. And then I got an official diagnosis. And I know this has taken a long toll, but I wanted to really explain to you guys what's going on. And it's scary. It is scary. I have cried and cried and cried because I was so afraid that I was never going to be able to speak normally again. Um, I was afraid that it was going to have a horrible effect on my profession. I mean, I am a clinical educator. You know, yes, I'm a nurse, but, you know, I'm in education now. And how can I conduct classes if I can't speak? That was something that was really weighing on me. So, prayer and research. Prayer and research. So, my official diagnosis was migraines with auras and dysphagia. So, what I had to do, I took the medication. It's just basically pain medication, but not it's prescription, but it's not narcotic. Um, I took that medication every 4 hours for the past 3 days. And I have now been 48 hours, no headaches. 48 hours, no headaches. But remember, all of this started a week ago. 1 week ago. But so far, 48 hours, no headaches. Now, I'm talking to you guys, right? I am recording this video. I am talking. In case you haven't noticed, I do pause. And anyone who knows me knows that I normally speak very fast and, you know, just ramble on, ramble on, ramble on. I guess it's a positive. I can't do that anymore. I have to really, you know, take my time and speak. But I will say, for the past, I want to say 3 or 4 days now, slowly but surely, my speech is getting better. What's funny though, I have to say this. I was in my car and the funniest thing happened. I'm listening to listen to music on the radio. I could sing songs and not babble. Like literally I'm singing along the lyrics. But I couldn't talk. Not sensible anyway. So to me that's really funny. I have to make light of what's going on. It is, and when I say make light, I am that person that I have to laugh to keep from crying, but sometimes the crying just happens. But it was just strange because I was like, holy crap. I'm singing this song I mean, the words are just flowing, and I guess because it's, songs that I knew. It was my playlist, my Apple CarPlay. It was my playlist, so of course the songs, I know the songs. But I was just singing, and then all of a sudden it hit me like, wait a minute, I'm singing these songs. But when I try to talk to people, I really felt like I couldn't articulate what I was trying to say. Like, again, in my mind, the words were flowing in my mind. But when I tried to speak the words, it was like, it was like, I don't, it's hard to even explain what was happening. I found myself like, you ever feel like you can't find the words? In my mind, I know what words I want to say, but to come out of my mouth, it was somewhat gibberish from in the very beginning. It was literally gibberish. Like, it wasn't even English. It wasn't Spanish. It was nothing. It was no language whatsoever. It was gibberish. As that began to correct, it was words, but I was speaking really slowly, and I would get frustrated because it's like, I know how to say this. I know how to say this, but I couldn't. So I'm sharing this with you guys because it's real. Like, people don't realize that when you take medications, prescription medications, you need to really pay attention to side effects. I've been a nurse for 30 years, and I take medications here and there. My blood pressure medicine, my medication for reflux. But, and of course, I've taken different medications over the years of, weight loss and stuff like that. But I never really paid attention to, well, I'm not going to say I didn't pay attention. I was blessed in that I didn't experience side effects of any medications. The worst side effect I've ever experienced was like gastrointestinal distress, trying to be nice, but let's just be honest, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting. I've had those, because of medications, but never, ever, ever had any major side effects until now. So I wanted to share this with you guys. Hopefully it will get to the masses. I hope everybody can just understand that when you are taking any kind of prescription medication, pay attention to the side effects. Like I said, I'm a nurse. So one of the things that I've always been mindful of is, when if there's 10 side effects, doesn't mean you're going to experience all of those side effects. So, nothing. That's the way I always looked at medications. Like, if they have 12 side effects listed, knowing me, I'm probably gonna get maybe a little stomach upset, And that's that, but that's tolerable. Totally look at medications different now. Definitely look at it differently now. Because what has happened is I was so freaked out. I'm just thankful right now that I can speak. I'm glad, and I know that you guys seeing this video are you probably gonna be looking at me like, yeah, right, it was not that serious. Honey, I could not even recite the alphabet. I ABC. That's how I was talking. I could not recite the alphabet. I could not count to 10. That was scary. That scared me. So, what I want you guys, if anything, and I'm not mentioning the particular medication only because I don't want to end up in some litigation or something, because I don't want people to say, oh, I'm not going to take that medicine because it did that. I took this particular medication for, I want to say, I took it for about 6 months, and then it was one of those medications where they would say, oh, it's out of stock, out of stock. And it was out of stock for so long that I had to, it was actually out of stock for about 3 months. And so I had to wait. And then when it was in stock again, because it had been so long, I had to start the medication all over because you slowly increase the dosages. And so I had to start all over from the lowest form. And I don't know if because I had to do it that way. I don't know why I experienced the side effect that I did. But what I will say is I am very blessed, very happy that I am now starting to speak normally. I still have to pause and collect my thoughts before I just speak. But I think I'm doing pretty good today because today is probably the first day that I feel like I can speak normally. So anyway, long story short, I'm glad I was able to have this story time with you guys, but just know that you need to be informed. You need to be informed. If you're going to take any type of medication, read, read, read. Find out what side effects are common. And by common, I mean, some people look at side effects like, oh, a little gastrointestinal. I can deal with a little diarrhea. I can deal with a little constipation. Like, yeah, that's nothing compared to what I experienced. So, diagnosis: migraines with auras and dysphagia. So, I will continue my weight loss journey, but naturally. That's it. That is it. Not taking any more medication. I'm not. Only medication I plan to continue is my blood pressure medicine and my reflux medicine. And then the occasional Tylenol or whatever if I get any aches and pains. But I promise, and this is for me, no more medications. Not adding anything. Nope. That's it. So I hope this helps somebody. I hope this brings awareness somehow. But remember, like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for a little more Life In with Kim. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.